What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a hot topic today. Today we're going to talk about Joe Johnson joining a championship contender, a team that can give anybody they go against a run for their money. They was quiet at the trade deadline, didn't really make no major trades. They didn't really try to shake up the roster too much. They see how successful they was last year. They add in Chris Paul, who adds another leader, another ball handler, another player that's efficient, take care of the ball, can guard his position. Not only that, he gives them a little bit of difference with the pick and roll, mid-range jumper, and he's another person that can help get Clint Capella consistently involved into plays. And it's tough to guard this Houston Rockets team. You make one mistake, it's a three. You make one mistake, Capella at the rim dunking on you. You don't guard Chris Paul and them enough, they're going to shoot threes on you. They're going to get the dribbling going out down mid-range, get to the basket, get to the foul line. So basically, this team got creators and they got great role players that complement them. This is something that we all know. Spread James Harden with some shooters, but James Harden only can do so much. If he has an off game, usually they lose. Now with Chris Paul and some other additions to that bench, if James Harden has an off day, Chris Paul can step up. If Chris Paul have a mediocre game like he did the other night when he only had 11 points, they still won because this team is so deeply talented and they fit together perfectly like a glove. You put the glove on and it fits just right, and then you're ready to use it. And that's how this team is gelling, and this is how this team works. This is a team that we used to say about the Golden State Warriors. 1 minute you up 3, 1 minute they up 2. Next thing you know, you down 10 and 11. And that's hard to do for a team because there's so many possessions and so many runs. But Golden State is always one run away from blowing you out. And the Rockets are just the same. Like I said, 1 minute you can be up by 2, 1 minute you can be down by 2, next minute you down by 10, 12, and the game is over. And that's hard to beat, and that's why they've been winning. They only half game back from Golden State for the #1 record in the entire NBA. This team is fantastic. Let's talk about Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson, obviously, he's not the player he used to be. He's older. He's still a 6'7" body that can, somewhat guard the position. He's a guy that can knock down threes. Not only knock down threes, him and Eric Gordon can come off the bench and create and make the offense off the bench more creative. Because Eric Gordon is a guy that comes in and he's instant offense. He's going to the paint. He's going to the free throw line. He's knocking down threes. He just know that, hey, when I come in the game, bring a lot of energy, bring a lot of fight, and just play my game. And that's what Mike D'Antoni has allowed him to do since he has taken over for the last 2 years. And that's all Eric Gordon does. He come out, play his game, take the shots he want to take, and it helps because he's so aggressive. He keeps the defense off balance, and he always draws attention because he's such a great three-point shooter or a tough shot maker that if you give him any space, any room, he's going to dead-eye it. Same with Ryan Anderson. No matter how much room you get Ryan Anderson, if you is not by that guy, if you do not close out before he shoots, he's going to be shooting from 30 feet, 25 feet. He's going to be shooting deep threes, and next thing you know, he's going to blitz you. I don't really see that out of Joe Johnson, though. I see Joe Johnson just providing another extra weapon on that bench. Obviously, he's not shooting that well from 3, but he's not even shooting that many threes. He's not even getting that many minutes in general. But in the minutes he's getting, he averaging 7 points, 1 assist, 3 rebounds, 42% from the field, 27% from 3. Those numbers don't scream amazing, but if you consider that he's not playing that many minutes and you still getting 7 points a game from him, and he can still create his own shot at his age, and he can make shots for other players because he knows how to kick out and he's a patient player. Joe Johnson is a guy that doesn't rush things. He's not a guy that overthinks. He's not a guy that just, throw up a lot of bullshit and hopes to go in. He's a guy that's very high basketball IQ. He picks his spots when he scores. He knows when to shoot. He knows when to post up. He can destroy mismatches on the other end. So if you have a guy shorter than him, he can exploit that weakness in your lineup and just get the shot that he wants consistently. He also give him a fourth quarter shot maker. They're not gonna rely on him that much, considering that they have Joe Johnson, considering that they have Chris Paul, and obviously they have players like Eric Gordon and Ariza that can knock down shots too, and Ryan Anderson. But he's another guy. If you get injured or another guy misses time, he can come in and play his role and do his thing. And that's another body that you prefer to have that you know can get the job done. That's the whole point of trading and signing veterans, because you know they're going to come in and be professional, come in and do their job. They know their roles. They're not going to do too much. They're not going to fight, cause locker room cancer. They're just going to say, hey, I'm here for a year. I'm here for 2 years. Let me come in, play my role. Let me contribute. And let's see how good and how far we're going to get. And that's what Joe Johnson is going to bring. And that's important, to have another body that you can depend on, another body that can give you insurance for injuries, and another body that can actually create his own shot. These are valuable things that you want in a player, but you're getting it from a bench production. And like I said, the fact that he's ISO Joe and clutch. And you seen even last year, Utah was a team that was on the up and coming. They was a team that was young, a team that wanted to obviously make a run at the playoffs. Gordon Hayward missed substantial time, and Joe Johnson came in at his old age with his beat up body, and at the end of the day, he's 36 years old, and he'd be 36 for the rest of this year, unless this team goes deep in the playoffs. But he was able to come there at 35 years old, guys, and literally take away, he went in there and replaced Gordon Hayward to the best of his ability, and he helped the team win. And he was hitting game winners. He was closing out games. He was taking over a large percentage and portion of the fourth quarter for the Utah Jazz last year, and he was at an advanced age, and he was able to really give the Utah Jazz valuable minutes and valuable shots and have a great impact on the team and still be able to win games at his older age. And he actually shot 41% from three last year and 43% from the field, and he still gave you the same numbers he's giving you this year. The only difference is he's getting less touches and less minutes. And the Rockets is a team that's super deep, and they're a team that has a lot of talent. So that makes Joe Johnson's job a lot more easier, because now he's going to be surrounded with a lot of players that can make him get open shots and make him, a 3-point shooter, and make his job easier, even if he's coming off the pick and roll, because you have Chris Paul, you have James Harden, and you have Capella rolling to the rim, and James Harden going to only pass it to you when you're open. He's going to pass it to you when he see you, and he's one of the best playmakers in this league, and that makes Joe Johnson's job easier too, because they didn't really have Gordon Hayward that much or George Hill that much last year, and Joe Johnson was able to still stay effective and efficient enough to help them win. And going to Houston is even better, because they're a much better team. They have much better floor spacing, and they actually got two superstar players in James Harden and Chris Paul, something that they didn't have in Utah. They had, Gordon Hayward, but he wasn't a superstar like Chris Paul and James Harden. And now that he's on this roster, he might even go to the Western Conference Finals, which people are predicting that, that they actually have a puncher's chance to beat the Warriors, and they match up well against the Warriors. Not only that, it's better than being on Utah, a team that's not even making the playoffs, and you basically can be competing for a championship, or you can just sit like Vince Carter was doing, sit on the end of a bench with a young team and help them develop, but it's not giving you no chance at a championship. When you at this age, there's only one thing to do. He made the All-Star games. He showed that he can be a franchise player in Atlanta. He got paid over $100 million. Joe Johnson done did everything that you can do but win a championship. And that's what he needs to be focused on. And I'm glad that he reached the buyout and now he can try to go get him a championship before he retires. He's still a great not a great player. He's still a great shot maker and a great playmaker. And he's a guy that's going to make a lot of people on his bench job a lot easier, and he adds more experience to go along with the other fours that they have on his roster and guards. He fits in perfectly. Even if it don't work, he can be gone next year and you can find somebody else. Ain't like they traded a second or first round pick. All they had to do is pay him cash that they don't even need, that they had to use anyway. And now you get a quality player in return, basically on the low and on the cheap. Let me know what you guys think about Joe Johnson joining the Rockets. Is this a perfect fit? Is it not? Is he washed up? He can't play. Last year was his last great season. Or do you think, he still can revitalize his career? He can play a great role. He can still hit big shots. And at the end of the day, he can be a helper in the playoffs, especially if an injury occurs. He can come in there and give him great solid minutes, regardless if he comes off the bench or starts or even just, sit the bench to a certain extent and wait for opportunity to help the team. And you never know, he can help them get over a hump or help them win a playoff series, just like he did in Utah last year. Let me know what you guys think. Quinn Wade, Basketball Analysis signing out. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description and comment section below. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description and the comment section below. I'm gone.